Shalom Ubracha, peace and blessings. Many of you have asked me to explain the reason behind our practice to observe one day of the pilgrimage festivals, and in particular to observe Shemini Atzeret and Simchat Torah together on the day that commercial calendars generally indicate is Shemini Atzeret. In order to understand why we only observe one day, it's first important for us to understand the practice of observing 2 days of these holidays. These holidays are recorded in the Torah as being one-day holidays. The Torah tells us that we should observe as a full festival the first day of Sukkot, the day of Shemini Atzeret, the first day of Pesach, the last day of Pesach, and one day of Shavuot. Yet we all grew up observing 2 days. And how did this come to be? The practice of 2-day holidays in the diaspora, in Israel it's always been one day. The practice of 2-day holidays in the diaspora goes back to a time prior to established calendars. Today we can look at a calendar, and that calendar can compute for us when each month begins, and then we can pinpoint exactly when the holidays are. In the time previous to this, the Jewish months, which are based on a lunar calendar, were established and proclaimed based on witness testimony of observing the moon, and then messengers were sent out to let people know that the new month has begun. The problem presented itself that there were communities that these messengers could not reach, within a reasonable amount of time, and they had to rely on calculations. Now, the calculations could be flawed by one day because a lunar month has either 29 or 30 days. That was the reason that witnesses were needed. So these communities that were on the outskirts would rely on mathematical equations that they knew could be off by a day. So therefore they would observe 2 days of the holiday to ensure that they actually observed on the proper day. Once the calendar was established by Hillel HaChodesh, there were 2 sages called Hillel. One we know as Hillel HaZokin, the elder Hillel. The other we know as Hillel HaChodesh, the new Hillel. Once this calendar was established, the observance of Yom Tov Sheni continued. The observance of an additional day continued, according to most opinions, as a minhag, as a custom. The question about the perpetuation of this custom has been brought up numerous times over the generations, and there have been diverse schools of thought on whether or not the practice of an additional day should be continued. This issue was brought in front of the law committee of the conservative movement, which ruled that communities have the option to observe this custom or not. And several years ago, here at Temple Israel, there was a decision that was made to observe the calendar of Eretz Yisrael, to accept the calendar of Eretz Yisrael, of the land of Israel, and observe these holidays as they are mandated in the Torah. It is important to note that in Eretz Yisrael, in the land of Israel, Rosh Hashanah is observed for 2 days and was observed for 2 days prior to the practice of adding an additional day. So the observance of 2 days of Rosh Hashanah is uniform worldwide. Yom Kippur, on the other hand, was never instituted as a 2-day observance because it would create great difficulty for people to fast for 48 hours. In Eretz Yisrael, in the land of Israel, since Shemini Atzeret is observed for only 1 day, the celebration of Simchat Torah, which is actually part of Shemini Atzeret, occurs on the day of Shemini Atzeret, and they are co-observed, as is the practice here in Temple Israel. If you have any questions regarding this matter or anything else, please feel free to call me. I look forward to the opportunity to speak with you and get to know each of you a little bit better. Moed Tov, Shabbat Shalom. May this be a wonderful year for you and everyone you love.